Morning, everyone. This week has once again put in stark contrast for the American people the fact that House Democrats are continuing to work to solve the challenges that the American people confront in terms of their economic well-being, their future, and the ability to achieve the American dream, as compared with the extreme MAGA Republicans, who are simply trying to jam their right-wing ideology and their conspiracy theories and their fealty to the twice-impeached former president down the throats of the American people. House Democrats will continue to put people over politics, to fight for lower cost, better paying jobs, safer communities, reproductive freedom, defend democracy, confront the gun violence epidemic, and build an economy that grows the middle class. We're focused on an economy that works for everyday Americans, builds upon the progress that President Biden has led, and grows the middle class. Republicans are focused on their extremism and their conspiracy theories and bending the knee to Donald Trump. House Republicans have no agenda, no vision, no plan to deal with the economy, job creation, health care, gun safety, or anything that matters to the American people. And that's what this week once again shows. Instead, they're peddling conspiracy theories before the Judiciary Committee. The oversight chairperson is totally out of control and unhinged. They're obsessed with Adam Schiff. First, they kick him off the Intel Committee. Then they try to fine him $16 million. That fails. Donald Trump threatens to primary them. And they immediately respond to the puppet master by bringing a censure resolution back to the floor of the House of Representatives. Today, the extreme MAGA Republicans want to impeach Joe Biden. You can't make this stuff up. Their extremism continues to be on full display. And they are doing nothing to enhance the health, the safety, or the economic well-being of the American people.
Thank you, Leader Jeffries. Do you believe the Hunter Biden plea agreement will cause President Biden to lose support in the presidential election? Do you believe the impeachment...
Can I answer the first question?
Sure.
No.
No. Sure. Go ahead.
That was the answer.
Oh, okay. And then the second one is, do you believe the impeachment motion will cause him to gain support or lose support?
It is clear to me that this do-nothing Republican Congress that is focused solely on its extremism and is determined to impeach without justification President Joe Biden will backfire, because all it will do is highlight that they have no plan, no vision, no agenda to address the challenges that the American people are confronting in terms of their day-to-day lives. By the same token, House Democrats are actually doing things that matter to the American people. We're fighting for reproductive freedom. We're trying to address the gun violence epidemic. We're standing up for the equality of all Americans. We're working to advance the Dream and Promise Act, to bring the great American dream to life for those dreamers that the majority of the American people support and know are an important part of the fabric of America. Perhaps most significantly, we're working to strengthen and protect Social Security. We're working to lower costs. We're working to provide a pathway to the middle class for those who aspire to be part of it, and to grow the economic prosperity of those who are in the middle class right now in America. And House Republicans have nothing to show for their first 6 months in office other than extremism and conspiracy theories.
Thanks, Leader. Tomorrow the House is set to vote on the Middle Class Borrower Protection Act, which Republicans say would reverse a recent mortgage rule from President Biden that they call, quote, socialist and unfair. I wonder, what do you make of these efforts by Republicans to undo the president's mortgage plan and perhaps their economic plans in general?
Well, President Biden and House and Senate Democrats are actually standing up for the middle class and those who aspire to be part of it, and trying to make sure that the things traditionally associated with a middle class lifestyle, like affordable home ownership, are sustained in the United States of America. Extreme MAGA Republicans are doing everything they can to undermine the economic progress that President Biden has made in this country. Because if President Biden is for it, they're against it. It doesn't matter if the things that have happened under President Biden's leadership, bringing domestic manufacturing jobs back home to the United States of America, standing up for home ownership in this great country, ensuring clean water exists all across the land, dropping the high price of life-saving prescription drugs, including insulin, to $35 a month. If President Biden is for it, they're against it. And this is another example that House Republicans are more interested in their extreme MAGA ideology than they are in progress for everyday Americans. Back.
Following the censure of Congressman Schiff, do you see any members of the Republican conference that are also deserving of censure?
We're going to continue to focus on solving challenges for everyday Americans and growing the middle class, and focusing on kitchen table pocketbook issues that actually make life better for everyday Americans. But there is an irony to the fact the very same individuals who are behind these censure efforts have questionable histories in terms of their own truthfulness to the American people. And I'm sure there are folks out there in the United States of America who will be interested in that hypocrisy.
Thank you. You said yesterday that late John Lewis told you that DC can be a tough place, and he wanted you to stay out of trouble unless it's a good trouble. So my question to you, what kind of a good trouble would you like to be known for as a leader?
Well, House Democrats are going to continue to stand on the shoulders of the late, great John Lewis in fighting for social justice, racial justice, and economic justice, fighting for equal opportunity in every single zip code throughout the United States of America, standing up for a woman's freedom to make her own reproductive health care decisions, and opposing the extreme MAGA Republican efforts to impose a nationwide ban, criminalize abortion care, and unleash bounty hunters on the women of America. I think John Lewis would have encouraged all of us, right, to stand up for what is right in America, stand up for freedom, defend democracy, certainly lean into the right to vote, and oppose the Republican efforts at extremism that are restricting freedom in ways that have not been seen since the end of the Civil War.
Mayor Jeffries, thank you. Two questions for you. So some of your Democratic colleagues, they pointed out that Speaker McCarthy could have easily snuffed out the impeachment vote, but instead he sidelined it with this deal with Congresswoman Boebert. Why do you think it is that he has to continue facilitating these deals with especially the far-right members of his party? And then I just want to also get your reaction to Prime Minister Modi coming to the United States as some of your colleagues are boycotting his speech.
Well, that is a question in terms of the first part of your inquiry that is best asked of Kevin McCarthy in terms of the agreements that he's had to reach with the extreme members of his conference, because I have no visibility into those conversations. However, it is clear that the extreme MAGA Republicans are increasingly dominating the activity that is occurring amongst the House Republican Conference. That is the reason why there was a censure resolution that was brought to the floor last week, and it failed. And allegedly, there were 20 House Republicans who stood on principle. And then what happened? The puppet master in chief, their supreme leader, the former twice impeached president of the United States of America, said that those 20 Republicans who stood on principle and voted to table the censure resolution last week should be primaried. And immediately, extreme MAGA Republicans fell in line and censured Adam Schiff for no good reason. Because all Adam Schiff has done is champion the Constitution, defend democracy, fight for freedom, and expose their extremism. In terms of the state visit that will occur later on today, I look forward to being part of the conversation that will occur with the 4 legislative leaders and welcoming Modi to the floor of the House of Representatives.
You talk about what you call extremism on the other side, the Schiff stuff, the Boebert and Biden impeachment stuff here. The Ways and Means Committee today held a meeting. They are now alleging that they have a whistleblower and that there was preferential treatment given to Hunter Biden pertaining to tax records. I know it's easy for Democrats to snuff this off all the time, but is there some there? Don't you guys have to at least take this seriously when they make those allegations and continue to have hearings and meetings and then come out publicly and say, oh, we think there's preferential treatment?
These are not serious people on the Republican side of the aisle at this particular point in time. They're not addressing any issues that are of relevance to the American people in terms of fighting to lower costs or create better paying jobs or supporting an economy that works for everyday Americans. In fact, even if that's not there, they think that.
Who does? There are some public polling that says that they don't trust the DOJ and they don't trust what's going on when it comes to these prosecutions.
Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with the polling that you're making reference to, but listen, it's not a serious undertaking that yesterday you censure the former chair of the House Intelligence Committee. Today you want to impeach President Joe Biden without a scintilla of evidence of wrongdoing. And tomorrow you perhaps want to defund the Department of Justice and the FBI based on some conspiracy theory that has largely been put into the public domain by the insurrectionist in chief, the former twice impeached president of the United States of America. So no, this is not serious. Period. Full stop.
Yes, sir. Leader Jeffries, how would you characterize your working relationship with McCarthy at the 6-month mark?
It's a positive, forward-looking relationship. We communicate often. That doesn't mean that we're not going to strongly disagree with each other at times. We often strongly disagree with each other at times. But we can agree to disagree without being disagreeable. And this is anchored in an approach that House Democrats have taken from the very beginning. Democrats have made clear we are willing to find common ground with Republicans whenever and wherever possible as part of our effort to build an economy that grows the middle class. The problem is the extremists on the other side of the aisle are unwilling to focus on the types of issues that would make a difference in the lives of everyday Americans because they are too busy trying to jam their extreme right-wing ideology down the throats of the American people. And we have also made clear from the very beginning that we are going to push back against Republican extremism whenever and wherever necessary. And unfortunately, we have to do it on a daily, if not hourly basis, because the Republican extremism is so out of control.
Thank you, Leader Jeffries. I want to follow up on Prime Minister Modi's visit because you're now going to India with Speaker McCarthy later this year. Can you speak a little bit something that's less important than the U.S. relationship with India right now, given China?
Strengthening the relationship between the United States and India is critically important. And in that regard, I look forward to hearing what Prime Minister Modi has to say on the floor of the House of Representatives later on this afternoon. In terms of visiting India, I have expressed interest and communicated that we've had a good conversation about perhaps a bipartisan trip to India. I have not confirmed that I'm going to be available to do that in the fall.
So I spoke with Chairman Comer yesterday about their investigation into the Biden family, and I asked him if, he said he's going to bring witnesses soon to testify on that. I asked him, because they keep saying this is an investigation into President Biden himself. I asked him, can you build a case without solid evidence? And he said yes, based on the witness testimony, they're able to build a case against President Biden. Your reaction?
This is Comer?
Yes.
I mean, the House Oversight Committee under the extreme MAGA Republican leadership from the very beginning of this current Congress up until this point has been a big failure. They have not uncovered anything that is in any way evidence of wrongdoing. They just peddle conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory after conspiracy theory without any meaningful evidence to move forward, because this effort is not designed to present any information to the American people that would be useful. What's going on before the Judiciary Committee, the Oversight Committee, and in many other places like the Ways and Means Committee is an effort to try to damage President Joe Biden. They've admitted this and will continue to do so because they can't help themselves. But it's important for the American people to ask the question, why do extreme MAGA Republicans continue to waste time and taxpayer dollars on these fake, fraudulent, phony investigations that have gone nowhere? It's because they have no agenda, no plan, no vision to address the economic issues of concern to the American people. And so they'd rather try to distract the American people by going down the rabbit hole of these investigations that are fueled at the end of the day by the insurrectionist in chief and his continued stranglehold on House Republicans.
If I could quickly clarify, do you think it's improper for him to try to build a case based on solely witness testimony, or do you think that solid evidence needs to be there?
I think that Jamie Raskin has done a tremendous job of highlighting the flaws in the approach that has been taken by House Republicans on the Oversight Committee, and I'll leave it at that. Thanks.
Would you support a member of your own caucus trying to bring a central resolution against one of these members who you said had a questionable history?
The House Democrats are going to continue to focus on growing an economy that builds out the middle class, that helps those throughout America who aspire to be part of the middle class, that protects and strengthens Social Security and Medicare, that works on lower cost, better paying jobs and safer communities. Paul?
How do you balance out that message versus the extremism message, and how much do you want your candidates next year focused on actual forward-looking bread and butter issues versus Trump extremism, MAGA, I don't know your alliteration.
Extreme MAGA Republicans.
Yes. How are you going to balance that?
Well, House Democrats will continue to focus like a laser beam on building an economy that grows the middle class. At the same time, it will continue to be important that we point out the extremism of the House Republican Conference. These are people who are extreme on reproductive freedom. We believe in a woman's freedom to make her own reproductive health care decisions. Extreme MAGA Republicans want to impose a nationwide ban. House Democrats want to strengthen and protect Social Security extreme MAGA Republicans want to end Social Security and Medicare as we know it. House Democrats believe in democracy. Extreme MAGA Republicans continue to peddle the big lie that the 2020 election was stolen and, in fact, side with the insurrectionists who have tried to overthrow American democracy. House Democrats are fighting hard to do something about the gun violence epidemic in America, including by passing universal criminal background check legislation. Extreme MAGA Republicans support flooding our communities with weapons of war that in some cases have been used to shred children in their classroom. So there will be an opportunity for House Democrats to continue to present our vision of putting people over politics and focusing on the economy and reproductive freedom and gun safety and defending democracy and protecting and strengthening Social Security versus what the extreme MAGA Republicans are doing in trying to take this country in a very different direction.
Thank you, Leader. I'd like to get your reaction to President Biden's comments at a fundraising event likening Chinese President Xi Jinping to a dictator, especially on the heels of Secretary Blinken's visit to China. So your take on that, and if you would consider President Xi to be a dictator.
Yeah, I'm unfamiliar with the comments or the context in which it was offered, so I'll refrain from commenting until I'm able to review the exact statement.
He said that the Chinese spy balloon was a great embarrassment for dictators when they didn't know what happened. So that was the context of his statement.
Yeah, I'll review the full context of what was said at the event and then perhaps have something further to say.
Would you characterize President Xi as a dictator yourself?
I would characterize what is happening with the Chinese Communist Party and their repression of their citizens as highly problematic, inconsistent with our values as Americans, and that we're going to continue to stand on the side of freedom.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. So yesterday you tweeted that extreme right-wing Supreme Court justices continue to outdo themselves with their corrupt behavior. They have no shame and zero credibility. Your tweet came on the heels of the report that revealed Justice Alito engaged in unethical conduct. So I want to know from you, why do you believe that the justices are not adopting a code of ethics?
The behavior by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas and Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito in terms of the unethical conduct that should be clear to everyone is highly problematic, undermines the confidence of the American people in the ability of the Supreme Court to fairly administer justice, and suggests quite clearly to me that there should be a judicial code of conduct that is applicable to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. The Congress of the United States has to operate under an ethical code of conduct. The House operates under an ethical code of conduct. The Senate operates under an ethical code of conduct. The executive branch operates under an ethical code of conduct. The federal district courts operate under an ethical code of conduct. The Court of Appeals operates under an ethical code of conduct. In the United States of America, at the highest levels of government, the only people who apparently believe they are above the law are members of the United States Supreme Court. That's wrong. And I'm thankful that on the Senate side, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, Dick Durbin, has indicated that legislation will be marked up upon the Senate's return in July that will do something about the unethical, out-of-control behavior of Supreme Court justices like Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. Thank you. Last question?
You said earlier that you don't believe
Kevin, you had something? Okay. Yeah.
that you don't
Last two
believe that
questions.
his son got special treatment, but as someone who's big on
That's a question that will ultimately be decided by the federal district court judge who has been assigned to the case. It's my understanding that this is a district court judge that was appointed by former President Donald Trump, in the same way that the individual prosecuting the case against Hunter Biden was a U.S. attorney appointed by Donald Trump. This was an investigation that was started by the Trump Justice Department, which made the decision that they were going to investigate the son of Donald Trump's most prominent political rival. And yet, Democrats have still taken the view that we're going to allow the justice system to run its course and express optimism that all of the individuals involved, including the judge who will ultimately render a sentence, is going to follow the facts, apply the law, be guided by the Constitution, and then the American people can make a determination as to the fairness of it all once there's resolution.
Two quick things. One, when it comes to the, as you like to label them, the so-called moderates from New York, as we are at the Dobbs anniversary, we haven't seen many votes within the House on abortion-related measures so far this year. Does that undermine your ability to really go after them, particularly on this issue? And then, when it comes to this resolution involving condemning housing migrants in gymnasiums and so forth, outside of the politics of this, did you think that was a good move in New York, even if it was short-lived and lasted all maybe a night or two?
Well, I'm not fully up to speed as it relates to what was occurring on the ground in New York. Certainly in the district that I represent, we did not receive a lot of incoming in terms of what was happening in the school system. There were different communities that expressed some concern, and as you pointed out, it was short-lived. And so I think the legislation that's going to be considered by the House of Representatives is just another example of extreme MAGA Republicans trying to politicize an issue because they have no agenda, no plan, no vision to solve any of the many challenges that the American people are confronting. In terms of the so-called moderate members of the House on the Republican side of the aisle, from the very beginning of this Congress, these are individuals who vote with the extremists in the Republican Party. They have voted with the extremists on gun safety issues and instead made a decision that they were going to partner with the NRA. These so-called moderate House Republicans in New York, at the very beginning of this Congress, voted to criminalize abortion care. These so-called moderate Republicans in New York were individuals who voted to inflict draconian cuts on everyday Americans that in some cases were north of 20%, cut Medicaid, cut nutrition assistance, cut education, cut veterans benefits, and cut a variety of different programs that are designed to benefit the health, the safety, and the economic well-being of the American people. And these so-called moderate Republicans, as soon as Donald Trump threatened to primary them, after they supposedly took a vote of principle in supporting the effort to table the fraudulent censure resolution that was brought last week, reversed course and voted with the extreme MAGA Republicans on that ridiculous censure resolution yesterday. So there's going to be a lot of material that the voters in these districts are going to have to consider over the next 12 to 15 months as to whether these individuals in New York are actually reflecting the values of the people they purport to represent. Thank you.